Everyone, in this video I will be predicting the first 4 Republican primary states. As of right now, there are currently 5 candidates in the Republican primaries so far that have announced. Donald Trump, who is the frontrunner, Ron DeSantis, who is in second place behind Trump, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, who is an outsider, and Tim Scott. So this video is just focusing on the first 4 states in the primaries, which will be Nevada, Iowa, South Carolina, and New Hampshire. So here is some background from the current candidates that have announced so far. Let's begin with Trump. Trump has taken fire from a lot of investigations, and if this was any other candidate, it would affect them very much in a negative way to almost end their career with just like Andrew Cuomo. But the investigations under Trump actually seem to help him, which is very unlikely to help a candidate. Since we all know that he announced his bid on Twitter with Elon Musk, which didn't go as planned, and DeSantis has taken fire ever since. Will he be able to bounce back is the question, as he trails Trump in second place. And as for the other 3 candidates, Nikki Haley and Tim Scott are from the same state, which is likely to split votes in North Carolina as well as South Carolina, causing DeSantis to get votes taken away from him, which is going to help Trump. The last candidate for now that has announced is Vivek Ramaswamy, which we don't know too much about him. You can find his interviews on NBC with Chuck Todd if you want. Go ahead if you like. And he's pretty much just an outsider, which is basically the most important thing that we know about him. And now let's begin with the prediction. So let's begin with the state of Nevada. I think 2 candidates will take the most delegates in Nevada, and that's obviously would be between Trump and DeSantis. I don't think Vivek Ramaswamy would come close in Nevada, as well as Tim Scott and Nikki Haley. So Nevada will be between Trump and DeSantis. But according to a very highly rated poll and trustworthy poll on 538, Trump is ahead of DeSantis in Nevada by 32 points. Although I think DeSantis would be able to get around 20 points in Nevada, and Trump will take the rest of the votes with around 50 points or delegates for Nevada. Trump takes most delegates, and DeSantis falls in second place in Nevada. So I think Trump will crack around 50 points in Nevada. Let's give Trump 50 points. Let's put him at 52. I think DeSantis will get around, 25 points in the mid-20s in Nevada. Let's say, for example, Ramaswamy will get some of the votes with 4%. I think Tim Scott will get some votes. And then, obviously, Nikki Haley will get some of the votes as well. So, as of right now in Nevada, this is how I think the primaries will shake up in Nevada. Trump will crack around 50 delegates. DeSantis gets around in the mid-20s. Nikki Haley gets, around 10%. Ramaswamy gets under 10%. Tim Scott gets under 10% in Nevada. So that is Nevada as if right now. That is my prediction for Nevada. Now, moving on to the state of Iowa. I think DeSantis pretty much needs to win most of the delegates in Iowa in order to win, or at least be somewhat competitive in the primaries. And if he doesn't win Iowa, that would be bad. Both Trump and DeSantis just recently had rallies, and one thing I can tell you is that it will be close. I have Ron DeSantis cracking in the 20s in Iowa, as well as maybe hitting in the 30s if he's lucky enough. Trump gets close to 50 points. I think that the other 3 candidates could get some delegates, but it wouldn't be much. I think they would stick around, under 15% for the other 3 candidates. So Trump takes Iowa as well. So let's fill in Iowa. I think Trump gets still around 50, I would say 50%, maybe a little bit under 50%, at like 47 delegates, not percent, sorry. Well, you can say percent as well. But I think Ron DeSantis does crack maybe in the high 20s, almost 30s. And then obviously the other 3 candidates will just split votes under 15%. Maybe Nikki Haley gets 10%. Ramaswamy gets, under 10%. Almost 10% with just 7%. And then Tim Scott can also get that 7% of the delegates as well in Iowa. So those are the 2 states so far. And South Carolina. I think this is when a lot of the votes between the candidates will split, because you have 2 candidates both from the same states, and Nikki Haley and Tim Scott, which will cause major splitting, like I mentioned earlier in this video. That will also cause a lot of the votes to be taken away from DeSantis, causing a Trump victory in the state. I think if this was a head-to-head matchup between just Trump and DeSantis, just them two, I think DeSantis wins South Carolina. But because of the other three candidates, Tim Scott, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, I think they will take the votes from DeSantis, causing him to lose the state. Otherwise, if it was just a head-to-head matchup between Trump and DeSantis, I think DeSantis wins South Carolina. But because there are other candidates besides Trump and DeSantis, they take away votes from DeSantis, causing a Trump victory in the state. So ultimately, that hurts DeSantis. On 30 points in South Carolina, and the rest of the four candidates would be around the same, under 20%, and they will split around, I would say, 20 delegates. So let's fill in South Carolina. Like I said, I think Trump gets around 30 of the delegates, maybe mid-30s. I would say low 30s, maybe 32. And then the other candidates can split. I think DeSantis gets, I would say, 20 of the delegates, 20%. Maybe Vivek Ramaswamy gets, I would say, a little bit over 10%, within 15%, maybe 12%. Tim Scott, obviously, being from that state, I think he gets a lot. I think I have him at 18%. And then as well as Nikki Haley, I think she pretty much gets near Tim Scott because they're from the same state. So for South Carolina, this is my prediction. And now the last state we will cover in this video of the four will be New Hampshire. I think DeSantis does keep New Hampshire competitive, and according to 538 polls from May, which are A-rated polls, suggest Trump is up by 21 in the state. As for my prediction in New Hampshire, I have Trump getting around 30 points and DeSantis getting around maybe in the high 20s, keeping it competitive, like I said, and the other three candidates will just split within 15%. As well as maybe getting under 10% possibly. So for New Hampshire, Trump gets, I would say, in the 30s. Let's put him at 36. DeSantis, high 20s. Let's put him at 27. And the other candidates can just split within 15%. Let's say Nikki Haley gets 13, for example. Let's say Ramaswamy gets 9%, for example. And let's say just Tim Scott gets, I would say, ties with Nikki Haley at 13%. So this is my prediction for New Hampshire. So there you guys go. These are the first four battleground states, the first four states in the Republican primaries. This is my prediction as if right now. DeSantis, as of right now, currently, of the four first states, 33 delegates for DeSantis, 19 for Nikki Haley, 56 for Donald Trump. He's leading. He is a front runner. 12 for Vivek Ramaswamy, who comes in last place for the candidates who've announced currently, and Tim Scott at 16 delegates. So out of all these five candidates who currently announced, Vivek Ramaswamy performs the worst, and Donald Trump takes first place, and Ron DeSantis falls in second place. I think the delegates that I have for all the five candidates right now are very accurate. Let me know if you agree. And so that is it for this video on covering the first four states in the Republican primaries. Stay tuned for the second batch of states in a different video. Let me know your prediction of the first four states and whether you agree with me.